welcome to the Formula RX8 podcast. I've got a softball interview today with my brother, Terry Lewis. You all know him, and I know him too because I grew up with him. We've got an interesting story, and we've also got potentially something for you to consider if you're out there and you're considering getting into motor racing, or if you're looking at shifting categories and coming over and racing at Formula RX8, Australia's most exciting grassroots category, one make series for sure. We've got an amazing calendar this year, and you could either try before you buy or you could rent for the whole season. So we'll get into that. But first of all, we've got a story to tell. We always love a story. Why don't we start the story, Terry, on how I first started. I got thrown the keys to an RX8. I think you were coming back from Phillip Island, weren't you?
Yeah, coming back from Phillip Island after a race, and then on the Sunday afternoon, I drove about halfway up. Woke up in the morning, driving back, and I thought, you know what? Wakefield Raceway's there, which is now one raceway. That's a great new track too. Anyway, you were there with your Toyota Yaris?
Yeah, so I bought one of these Toyota Yarises for $40,000. I spent like $1 million on it, and I remember that when you gave me the keys to your car to take it for a few laps,
Couldn't give it back to me after you did it.
I couldn't get out of it. Yeah. I said goodbye to the Yaris. I've been in an RX8 since, and the story is the story. How the story goes now. I was racing an RX8 Cup. That's the first year I started, and highly competitive thanks to my driving skills, obviously, but also the setup of the car, how you do what you do, your 40 years of knowledge. And we can't talk about 40 years of knowledge without talking about you giving it to the Holden and Ford works teams. Geez, Holden doesn't even exist anymore, but they were big works teams, and you were a privateer. And, mate, you won the
1992 Australian Production Car Champion. Did one or two races beforehand. I did a Winton 300. I came fourth. Tony Longhurst came third. I was leading the race for most of the back part of the race, and that was all because of Barry Jones. Barry Jones was a legend back in the days, and he was the one that got us a special, one of the 10 VP 6-cylinder SS Commodores, which, when we went to go and sell that car, the dealers are ringing him up and goes, mate, there's no such thing as a 6-cylinder SS Commodore. Mate, there was 10.
The way I see it, you're my Barry Jones because there's no way...
Even such a legend.
Yeah. I was new to motorsport when I first got into it, and even though we're all got the same product and that we're a one-make series and we've got control components, all that sort of stuff, it's what you do with the control components that gives you that competitive advantage, potentially. I mean, I don't know a thing about, tyre pressures, about, the dingle-dangle things you do with the adjustment on the suspension and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And I haven't got a clue. And you basically throw me the keys, which is, it's kind of the perfect solution for someone looking to get into motorsport, and that kind of wants to do that arrive and drive, because there's an arrive and drive and you're just making up the numbers, and then there's an arrive and drive where you're actually got a crack at getting a podium.
My cars are all pretty much the same. I remember you saying to me once, what are you making them all so good? Mate, if I can step out of my car and step into another one because it's at a bingle, you straight away, you're on the right start. You need to have the car that's the best of the best of the best. All my cars have got fresh motors, fresh gearboxes, fresh diffs. They all are competitive, along with some of the other bits and pieces do. The things like the large alternator pulley. A large alternator pulley is less stress and better acceleration on an engine.
That's allowed in the regs?
Yeah, large alternator pulley, it's free.
Okay.
Pulleys are free.
Okay, cool. Well, look, there's those things that I wouldn't have a clue. And
that's a little bit. There's like 20 of those things.
Yeah, no, I get it.
All of them joined together, along with the angle, the rake you put on a car, as to if your car doesn't want to turn in. And there's so many more new things that my latest car has got, and I'm going to probably stick it on yours. But I like to put on my one first, just to make sure it's all right. But all my other cars are sorted. They are in top condition. In fact, one of them's got the unofficial lap record by 0.6 of a second at Eastern Creek.
Yeah, gotcha. I remember that night. That was a good night.
Unbelievable.
So, look, the way I see it is this. If you're getting into motorsport and you want to, or you're getting into our category, it takes you literally, if you're doing it yourself, months or even years to develop. And what you get with a Terry Lewis car is basically from Barry Jones onwards, that 40 years of experience in motorsport, and you get just the right information at the right time. Tez, dry hire, I get a fully prepared race car ready for the race weekend. What's that going to cost me dry hire to come and pick it up from you?
Mate, it's $5,000 plus GST.
Yep.
That works out at about not even $1,500 a day.
For if you're on a 3-day race meeting.
3-day race meeting, yeah.
Mate, that's cheap. I can tell you right now, I'm spending close to sort of $3,000 on my car in between race meets just to prepare it. Yeah. So that's okay, cool. Then you obviously got to pay entry and all that sort of stuff, which is normal. You always got to pay for those things and all that sort of stuff, mate. I reckon that's dead set good value. Look, the type of motor racer I think that's suited to this particular product is kind of someone like me, someone that's got a little bit too busy, hasn't got enough time on my hands, isn't experienced, right? And also because we're obviously highly engaged with all of our socials, we're on national TV. It's actually a tax write-off for advertising on your car. So
certainly is,
yeah. So mate, it's kind of a no-brainer. But the best thing is you get you. And
I teach everybody, like Paul Spateri. I've taught him all the things that I know, shown him about suspension, helped him when he decided to run a car for himself, what you need, how to set the car up, what steering angles I have on the front, what cambers, what toe I have. Tell them all the products that originally keep breaking. They break toe arms in the rear. When they break that, they have a lower control arm that they also break. So take a spare of each of those items. Break the odd hub every now and then. Take a spare of one of those items. I give them a whole list of things. Tell them to call Mazda and give them your VIN number and see if they'll give you some free control arms and a fuel pump. And even though you don't have an airbag in there, they'll probably try to change that as well, because that's part of the recall that they've got on the RX8s. And I think that recall happened because of me, because I was at Eastern Creek. I dropped a lower ball joint because of the ball joint on the front is not of the right size. And I found out there was a recall in America, and I went on to West End Mazda, and they must have done something, because the next 2 months later there was a recall that went over all those things.
Mate, I'm going to Google what a ball joint is after this, but that sounds fantastic. And that wouldn't surprise me if you upset the tectonic shift in the Mazda world and started a global recall. That's exactly the kind of stuff my brother does.
I'd already had the global recall was there. I just made sure it happened in Australia.
Okay, great. I remember you and Dad put together a private campaign back in '92
with Barry Jones.
Barry Jones, and you went and were against the works teams. That is. I don't know if anyone understands the gravity of what that is, of that achievement. And I know you've done a few things ever since, but that to me is, if you just look at that alone, that's the reason why if you can get someone like Terry, and Terry is sort of my Barry Jones in Formula RX8 world, and if you can get you can get a great prepped car, you can get all the advice on track and also troubleshooting at the time. That's how you put together a competitive campaign. And look, if you're out there, I mean, I'm only recommending this product because I use it, not because he's my brother. And dead set, help me out with my little Bathurst campaign. What do you think of the calendar this year, mate? It's a pretty exciting calendar for you.
Yeah, we're visiting a few places that I haven't been for a while. Malala.
Yeah.
That's one of the rounds I did win.
Okay.
And
can't help himself.
Phillip Island, that's what a track that is.
Well, we've got a 3-day event at Phillip Island, and our local rounds, if you could call them local, are pretty cool rounds. Meaning we've got one raceway, and we've also got Bathurst, which is obviously,
God's country.
Yeah, they're our local rounds.
Yeah,
and we've got some really white hot young talent coming in to compete for the championship this year. There's no other series that's promoting Australian talent.
Mate, that was a problem when I was racing my Commodore. I'd won an Australian title. Mate, I wanted to have a crack at the supercars of the day.
Yeah.
And unless you had $250,000, $300,000, $1 million or something like that, it wasn't going to happen.
Well, our last year's
everyone picked people out of Formula Fords. But when you see a talent that's doing better than everyone else, like Brian Gordon, mate, he's a talent.
Yeah, I know. Mate, there's a few more. You need money in motorsport. We're going to wrap it up now, but look, if anyone's looking to make their car competitive within our regulations, our very strict regulations, then Terry's available. You can call him on 041111 0999. I can't believe I remembered that.
Yep.
Call Tezo, and he has the knowledge, and he can help you get your car pre-set up before you get out to the track. Or if you don't want to bother with all that crap, just come and lease a car off him and be competitive anyway, and do what I do, turn up with my helmet, jump in the car and win some races. Yep. How's that sound?
Sounds good to me.
Good stuff. Good to see you, bud.
No worries.
Thanks for coming in.